the Bicycle Boulevard Network is an idea to create a system of bicycle priority streets that can really provide a safe way for people of all ages and abilities to bike across Berkeley.
I love being able to bike around and not drive and have that flexibility, and the bike boulevard and the bike lanes are what make that possible.
I bicycle to work at City Council every single day and to my meetings all over the city and beyond, not just on the bicycle boulevards, but if I'm going a long distance, I can take my bike on the bus or I can take my bike on BART.
Safety is one of the #1 concerns of why people don't choose to bike, because they feel like it's dangerous. And streets like these really make people feel the safety that they need to actually get out on their bikes, to bring their kids out on their bikes.
We're out on Russell Street, which is a bicycle boulevard in town. We've got a couple bicyclists coming up the street, a couple pedestrians walking across. That's the whole goal of the program here, is to make the street safer for both. One thing we've done to do that is put huge bicycle stencils down on the street. It's the same size as the stop sign stencil, and that's key. Any other city looking to do this should keep that in mind. The idea is that you want to create the same, optical image that the stop sign stencil creates to a motorist. The bike stencil is just as wide as the stop sign stencil, and it's actually much longer because it has more information in it.
It really gives a cyclist a sense of owning the road and being able to take the lane, being able to be in the middle of the street where they can avoid the door zone. Cars are expecting that they're going to have to wait for bikes, they're going to be seeing bikes, it's not going to be a confrontational thing if a cyclist is in the middle of the road, because it's expected on these streets.
The signage we use on our boulevards here in Berkeley is purple. We use big purple signs that tell you you're on a boulevard and give you information about where you're going. But in addition, the actual street signs are purple for the boulevard streets. And you can see that here with the Russell Street sign. Why purple? There's only a few colors, really noticeable colors, that traffic engineers don't already use. Purple was one of them. Every street block has a purple sign. So the combination of those two things and the stencils in the roadways, it's to raise motorist awareness that there are more bicyclists out here, so drive more cautiously.
Berkeley does have a very broad traffic calming program that was installed primarily in the 1970s.
We have numerous different obstacles for cars. Berkeley was one of the first cities to experiment with traffic calming and traffic reduction in the neighborhoods, and so there was a pretty comprehensive citywide network of diverters and barriers and half barriers that went in to create a hierarchy of streets.
The idea with that is that you can still have an urban grid to preserve through movement for cyclists and pedestrians while getting some of the benefits of a cul-de-sac when it comes to auto traffic.
The original barriers and diverters that went in the early 70s, they didn't really consider cyclists at that time, but all along the bicycle boulevards, we've actually modified the existing barriers and upgraded them so that cyclists can pass through more easily. There's a hole in the barrier for cyclists and or emergency vehicles to continue through. This is an example of one of our nicer ones. It's been very, I think, tastefully landscaped. So we're riding up the Channing Bicycle Boulevard, approaching Martin Luther King Jr. Way. There's a special signal here which detects cyclists, gives you a protected area, and allows cyclists to continue straight where motors can't. Martin Luther King, as you can see, is a major street, 4 lanes. There are 2 magnetic inductive loop detectors in the pavement leading up to the final loop detector just before the crosswalk. And these detect the presence of cyclists and give them a green. Behind me is a right turn only sign. This is for motorists. You can see below it in smaller letters it says accept bicycles, and that's to keep the motorists from continuing straight on the bicycle boulevard.
To prevent all traffic from going through, they put a little staple down in the ground. It's actually a big metal staple that these days prevents only cars from going through. It really doesn't prevent an SUV or any kind of vehicle with a high chassis from going through. But all of our traffic control stuff is designed for emergency access. This is a semi-diverter. You'll see the sign says emergency vehicles and bicycles are allowed through, but the cars can't continue on this way. It's a semi-diverter, so the neighborhood can get out of the neighborhood, but cars won't be using this street as a cut through. We've put in a lot of traffic circles, about 30 to 35 in the last couple of years. You're going to see 2 or 3 traffic circles in this street, which has a lot of beneficial effects. One, if you're a motorist driving down the street, you're going to slow down just because the street looks smaller, it looks narrower, and it doesn't look like a through street that you would just travel down real quickly to get to where you're going. The neighborhood adopts their circles, so the plantings in here are watered and kept up by the neighborhood.
During the 1980s, a group of people got together and proposed a slow street on Milvia, which we hoped would be the beginning of a slow street network all over the city. And we flipped the parking from one side of the street to another, so there's a curve in the middle of the block. In order to make the street curve, we put these bulb outs here and similar bulb outs in the center. The trees are further out into the street than the ordinary street trees in the planting strip are, and so they narrow the street visually. We also added the speed humps. The speed humps are designed to slow traffic to 15 miles an hour. All of these generations of traffic calming devices have ended up creating lots of locations that are safe and comfortable places to bicycle, where there's either very little traffic or the traffic is very slow.
In Berkeley, really everybody's using the bicycle boulevards, and I think one of the reasons that they get such wide currency is because they feel safe.
You can get pretty much anywhere in Berkeley on the bike boulevards. If I want to take my godson in the bike trailer, take him on the bike boulevard, know that we'll be safe even when it's dark out, knowing there's not going to be that many cars, and if they are, they're going to be going slowly.
It really isn't a dramatic change from what the street used to be. But the fact that people are told that these are bicycle boulevards makes more bicyclists likely to ride on it.
In many cases, these were formerly bike routes, and now we're trying to make the improvements that will really increase the convenience and comfort of cycling across Berkeley.
I think that it not only makes for a more beautiful city, but just is kind of positive reinforcement. It kind of help that cycle of getting people out of their cars and onto their bikes, and decreases pollution and decreases the need for people to have cars.